telling us. All right, now you should be able to hear.
Can you hear?
It kicked us off into the wrong mic. So yes, Stacey said, all right, so let's back up. Yes, let's back up.
You want to intro yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to be quick. Tony Gapastione here, live from Park City, Utah. Man, we, we're wrinkling out the wrinkles, ironing out the wrinkles. I'm a Caucasian guy with a yellow beanie and black glasses, and we're in Park City, Utah with a Sundance Selected filmmaker named Erin Brown Thomas, who's going to tell you with the ability to hear about her short film pilot called Chasers. Priscilla.
Yes. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's Priscilla, Black and Asian, so I'm a little high yellow. I have big curly froze. I put a bang to it this time, and I have a black sweater on. I'm super excited to be here at Sundance, guys, giving you guys all the scoop. Stay posted.
Hello, I'm Erin Brown Thomas. I'm the creator, director, co-writer, and one of the producers of Chasers, which is playing in the episodic category, world premiering on Wednesday. I am wearing a purple confetti wild fang jumpsuit and some black fur. I've got my hair done.
Yes.
We are wearing glasses as well.
Glasses. Okay, so this is awesome and a great example of filmmaking. Like the fact that we didn't have sound for 3 minutes is hilarious. Like we are creating our own podcast lounge in our condo because we want to exemplify what it takes to be an indie creative. Like you have to make your own space. You have to tell your stories. You have to do whatever it takes to do it. And this has been a journey for you to create this idea that was a short, then it became a pilot. So jump into how you knew this is what it was going to be. I love industry stories. Chasers is about people chasing after their dreams. And you had a very interesting take on what that was like. So jump in.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So Chasers is an ensemble dramedy, as I like to call it. It's, I love making things that are funny till they're not.
Did you create that word, dramedy?
I think someone's used it, but I definitely use it
awesome.
a lot.
Yeah.
I like to say, oh, my stuff is like,
yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I like to make. I mean, I like to make lots of stuff, but a lot of it tends to be that. And I think in my own life, I've just been at this place in my career, this crossroads where I've been asking myself, like, to every time like the carrot is dangled just a little bit in front of me, and I, kind of maybe make a compromise of some sort, whether it's just a compromise of like, well, I really didn't want to work this weekend, or a compromise that maybe, anything really. It's just like, okay, where is the line between paying your dues and chasing your abuse? And so really that was really the central question of Chasers, was to get people to kind of ask that. And so we're juxtaposing, Chasers juxtaposes the central storyline of Sophia, who is pursuing her crush.
Sophia,
at this house party. And we're juxtaposing sort of the red flags in dating with the everyday hustle of being a creative in an industry that everyone wants to break into, and how easy it is to exploit people who have a dream.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a question about?
Yeah. So you
pulling up the trailer.
You originally started as a short film that was about 30 minutes, which is long for something in the film festival routes. But you said that you saw the pilot in it. And so what were the qualities that you saw to make it an official pilot that you knew it was going to do well out in the universe?
Sure. I mean, the reason I started thinking about as a pilot is because I wanted people to see it. And I was just worried, like, I knew that this was the right length for the story, but I also knew, gosh, like, this is not a length that film festivals embrace too much. But the reason that I realized, like, oh, it actually does work as a pilot was because we were setting ourselves up to essentially bring reoccurring patterns. I'll take this straight from, I teach for Jacob Kruger, and one of the things that he teaches in all of his school, that the different
every kid grows up wanting to be an actor.
Pilot is a film.
It's easy for execs to find people.
Point A,
they'll just chase the golden
there's
character.
a complete journey.
So we're both being put through the
And
Hunger Games in these images.
we're exploring the idea of growth.
I should be
in film.
grateful.
In episodic, you're actually
What's the
exploring the lack
situationship
of growth.
between you and Jacob?
Right?
Okay.
You're watching people.
Yeah.
You're watching people make the same
He's friend
mistakes
zoning
over
you?
again.
I'm
And
sorry I didn't take you back.
honestly,
Working on
there's
boundaries
so
with
much
the therapist.
material. So much
I don't know.
material.
I think I
available.
just want to be
It's
cool and
a world
not
that
scare
we
them
could
off.
watch
Don't get too
over and over
attached.
again,
We
and
know
we
you're
could near and
romantic
spoil it. We
at
could build it. We could have
I
it
just
so
want
that
to see where this
anything
goes.
could happen, but in
I
a
think I
greater
need like a
way.
yes or a
We
no.
could foil where we show people that are making different choices, healthier choices. So there's a way that we could explore this theme through the continual pattern of characters falling into compromising.
Yeah. So
I'm not
this
that
is a
guy.
really
I
great
promise. I know I
tip
got a
for
lot of
any of
problems, but
you all
I'm not that
listening and
guy.
watching. If you want to
LA,
write
baby, you got a
for
suffering way to the top.
TV, it is a long
Chasing
game.
dreams
It's
again,
watching characters over a long period of time, right? Whereas in a feature film or short, it's really a shortened journey. We want to see the character radically change in a really unique way in a short amount of time, 2 hours for a feature, right? So when I'm learning to write TV, I know you teach in this space. One of my mentors said in a pilot that I wrote, she's like, oh, people are changing way too quick. Like what you have happening in this pilot needs to be happening over the course of 10 episodes. In fact, what happened in the pilot, she said, you should save this one piece of it to the finale of the season. I was like, oh my gosh, I had to totally rethink that. So I love that you're kind of accentuating that it really is a lack of growth in TV.
Yeah. And but the other thing, the reason I love it so much is TV allows you to really feel the growth of a character when they make those small little changes. You have a character like, I mean, look at Succession, like look at, or, Shameless is a great example. I'm going to go to Shameless actually, because I love Shameless. I love that like Shameless always has this huge ensemble, and sometimes some characters are making really good choices and you're like, yes, Fiona. And then other times you're like, Lip, what are you doing? And over the course of seasons, when you see someone make actually some growth, it feels so earned. It's like, yes, girl, you're doing it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And the nice thing about an ensemble is that you can have character growth over time, but what you do is you end up replacing the kind of the engine of your show, like the theme that you're exploring, the problem. If one character is going to grow, the other one is now going to fall into this problem. So that's the nice thing about setting this world, setting this Chasers in the world of a series. It allows some of our characters to make good decisions, some of our characters to make bad decisions. We can explore a more holistic approach to holistic meaning like a more bird's eye view, like full approach to how people are reacting to the buttons that are being pressed in their lives with regard to their career.
Okay.
And romance.
So with you building out your team, as far as shifting it from being a short film to a pilot, how did you build your production crew around that? And how different was that for you? I know you're not new to doing TV series stuff, but how different was it for you to make your production crew for this particular pilot?
Well, I will say, like, if we're talking production, it was still a short in my mind at that time. Like, I just knew the story existed, had to get it out. It came together really quickly once we started writing. This was an idea that I sat on for many years, at least the core part of it. But I kind of had an aha moment in August of 2023. And by I quickly assembled two producers on the team who ended up being Beth and Hayden, who are both Beth is my DP, Hayden's my camera operator. I brought them on not only as that, but as producers early because I knew it was a very difficult project and I knew I needed them. And we started, that was sort of like, okay, all right, we're going to do this. By the end of September, I had cast the lead and was actually brought her into the writing process.
Wow.
And at that time, it was just like, I remember, she was even kind of saying to me, should it be 15 minutes? Because you're the one that told me that festivals like that, because I'm a festival programmer.
Festival founder, programmer, right?
Yeah, salute your shorts, shout out. But I was just like, this is the length of this story. Like, I know in my bones, this story, I know it in my bones. I know this is the length. And so at that time, like, that was end of September. We were shooting by December, and there was no real time to like think like about distribution. It was just like we had a location, we had to get it done. And so
like boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
boom.
So I approached this the same as I would with a short, but I also then I brought on two other producers who like Elle Shaw, who's sitting over here, and you'll meet her in a second. She is really the like lead logistical producer on Chasers. And then I brought on Olivia Haller, who produced Subtext, my previous film. She also starred in it and wrote it. But Olivia is a wonderful writer who is also like writes TV pilots and stuff like that. So I knew that bringing her on as like a creative development producer would be really great. And she's kind of helped me as I've been brainstorming ways that the season can progress, in future installments. So that's how it all came together.
Okay,
and
cool.
many other people that I have not had the opportunity to give shout outs to.
Let's bring in Elle.
Yeah.
Come on in. We're gonna step here. Look at this powerhouse lady. All right.
Introduce
Go
yourself.
ahead.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elle Shaw. I was the producer of Chasers. I have blonde hair, a green sweater, and a hot pink chasers beanie. Yeah.
I love it. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so producer, so you have a specific title. You said logistics producer.
I mean, I will just say that Elle really took lead as a producer on typical producer things. Her title is simply just producer.
Okay.
This project was a huge undertaking,
Yeah.
and all of the producers who have the title of producer on this project earned that title many ways. I'm just saying, Elle has produced for me in the past. She's one of my powerhouses. She does Salute Your Shorts with me, and she kind of was like the one that took lead, and we all kind of looked to her for the way information flows. Would you agree?
I would agree. As we all know, indie producers, you wear many hats, whereas the bigger production, it would be split into additional producers. And so, especially with this team, it was really lovely because we kind of worked with our strengths and things that we didn't know how to do because there was a lot of growth with this very large undertaking of a project. And we kind of like conquered and divided in that way. And we're just sort of like, we're going to figure it out.
If you don't mind sharing, just because it's intimidating to be a producer that joins on a team that already has 3 active. So please share some of the strengths that you brought to the team and how you elevated them and some of the growth that you guys saw, because us indie filmmakers, we're learning from each other. So please share that.
Sure. Well, right off the bat, we realized that there was a previous producer who was in the role that I kind of slid into. And we quickly realized she was the line producer.
Okay.
And while
She booked a feature. We're all good friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
She booked a feature.
in a with a smaller budget, I've line produced, but nothing to the magnitude of what we were doing. And so I was like, yep, got that. No problem. And I think the biggest part was I just took on, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
If I don't know it, I really asked for help, which was a really great thing. I was able to ask the producer that was working on the feature and other producers that I know. I just took my ego completely out of it.
Nice.
And then, what was your second question?
One thing that you guys grew as producers on the project.
Oh my gosh. We learned that we can do hard things.
You guys are super brave.
I don't know. I just feel like this team was amazing at jumping head first in, especially because we had such an abbreviated timeline with this. Like we had 4 weeks to make this happen, and we had a lot of things that we had to do. And I think, we learned, I really learned about traffic control and the permitting and who you got to hire, like lots of things and red tape that you have to cut through in certain neighborhoods in LA to make things happen. And if you don't get it in that time amount, also maybe a little bit of rogue filmmaking.
I love it. You guys went rogue. I love it. You guys shot in LA. What a dream. You guys did it as friends. Okay. Because I've never experienced being a Sundance Selected filmmaker, what was the process like for you guys? Did you guys all apply together, or was it on one person to submit the application? And then what did you guys do when you guys found out? And then what has been the process since?
You screamed and cried.
Yeah, I mean, if you're curious to see us react to the news, that is on our Instagram, so you can look at Chasers_film or Erin Brown Thomas _ or Elshaw7. It's on all of ours. But calling everyone and telling them was quite magical. But to back up, the process of submitting, I submitted through, I think it was Film Freeway. I think that is Film Freeway. And I submitted both as a short and as an episodic.
Okay.
Because
2 different fees?
Yes.
That's what we gotta do. Come on there, y'all.
Listen, and I only recommend doing that if you really do have something that can be both. But I had reached out I met one of the feature programmers. I didn't know the shorts or episodic team.
Okay.
I didn't have like an in there, but I had met one of the feature programmers at Palm Springs Short Fest.
Okay. And
I asked her for her opinion, like, can I submit both ways? She was a little familiar with the project because I had pitched it as a series at Palm Springs Short Fest. And she encouraged me, submit it both ways. She said, you probably it sounds like it might, with the length, it like if it can be seen as a series, if it earns the series thing, the length might be more attractive. And that's why I was angling it that way. Right. So, but I submitted, and then I just found an email address online, and I spent months on a one sheet. months.
Thank you, Erin, for breaking it
Um,
down. This is
yeah.
awesome. No, thank you. Some people
I
will
started-
gatekeep, and I'm just so
I mean,
grateful that
I
you're
truly didn't even tell half of our team I was starting to think of it as a pilot. Like my husband knew, who was one of our producers, and I think our composer knew because he was like at festivals with me this past year, and maybe Olivia. But I, for instance, like was at Palm Springs Short Fest, like testing the waters of it being a pilot, and I played with pitching it as a pilot a bunch before I even went to Sierra, who co-wrote this with me, and I was like, I want to pitch it as a pilot. And then I started looping her in on like, you know, some of the documents that I was putting together again for the for submitting as episodic. And months later, I was like, okay, this one sheet and it's changed since then. Now it doesn't even resemble that. But yeah, like I just really spent a long time because I had this feeling like I think a pilot is the way that Sundance takes a 31-minute piece. I did my research. I looked like 5 years deep. They didn't have anything beyond like 24 minutes or something. So I was like, I can't.
Whoa, are you the first?
Well, what I'm saying, no, I'm saying is shorts. I'm saying
God,
shorts.
yes.
And so this is a good thing to do. If you have a really long film and you're like, would this festival maybe take it? Look at their last few years of lineups. I was researching like years deep into Sundance lineups, and I was like, they haven't played anything remotely near this length.
Wow.
That's why I was like, I've got to convince them it's episodic. And in the process, I convinced myself
Yeah.
because now I'm like, I got to like, listen, it's going to be a great show. I'm so excited. I want to make it.
Okay, so Tony Gapastione jumping back in here. I want to talk about the story and why you made it. And you talked about the chasing of dreams, but also dealing with our abuse and trauma and the middle of it. But let me back up. So you kind of reverse engineer a bit. Now you're like, oh, now I actually have a show.
Yeah.
And you're pitching it as a show and potential. Are you seeing some bites? Are you fielding some? Just talk about that. I'm curious. Are you hoping that things? Obviously, you sell. What's the next step?
I mean, a lot of people have reached out to watch it in the last few days, but things are it's a little weird time in LA with the fires. Like I have a team that works with me, and they've been a little slow to send it out for the sake of everything that LA is going through right now.
Get lost.
So you know, no deal. I'll just say no deals have been made, but people love it, and I'm really just curious to see who watches it here at Sundance, what kind of reaction they have. We're really open. Like this is a world we want to continue playing in. And the reason that we love the idea of making it as a series is because we think it increases the cultural footprint. It increases the conversations. People tune in week after week for a show, and there's more buzz. And I don't mean more buzz for my sake. I mean more buzz for like the kind of conversations that this show could speak of. But that being said, there would definitely be room to expand this into a feature. We're open to what it looks like. I'm open to learning from someone that is so much further above me and having less control. I'm also open to a private financier coming and saying, let's do what Mark Duplass did. Let's make the whole thing. Exactly.
Oh,
so we're really open. We're really open. We realize that, you know, there's a big, you know, door number. We're going to open door number 3, and we're going to find out what's in there. And we don't know. We don't know what is on the other side of Sundance yet, other than being really, really proud of what we brought here.
Yes.
That's awesome. I am going to wrap up this version of the video. So if you are watching this, you're going to want to go to our YouTube channel and hear the rest of the conversation. Thank you, Eric. For those of you who are watching live and on the audio version, I want to talk now about the story. I love industry movies and films.
Me too.
Hacks is like loving. I love Hacks right now. My first feature film was about an actor trying to become a screenwriter and all the challenges of being a human in the middle of this industry.
Yeah.
Why this? Obviously, you live it, so you know it. So talk about Sophie and kind of what you were doing with dating and also pursuing the arts.
And I'm gonna keep a spoiler for you.
Sure.
But really, the Sophia storyline, which you got to tune in, you got to see it, you got to come watch it Sundance online, watch it at Sundance.
Oh, you can watch it online, Right?
Or and then we're also on Slam Dance in person and online.
And I heard another film festival. I think your husband told me that's not yet to be.
Oh yeah, that's not to be.
Yes, I know. There's many things coming in the future. Stay tuned.
Chasers_film. So I don't want to give the main storyline away, but the Sophia storyline has been really near and dear to my heart for a while. And sometimes you just sit on ideas for a long time until they suddenly make sense to you. And it wasn't until I realized that, so contextualizing Sophia's storyline against the backdrop of an entertainment, like a party in the entertainment industry, that I was like, oh, the reason that I love Sophia's story so much is because I relate to it. It's me.
Yeah.
It's not me literally. It's me. It's a thematic amalgamation of all of my time in LA.
Yeah.
And so if you have ever felt like you're on the verge of just like, do I do this other thing? Like, not even quitting, just like, do I take this weekend off and write this essay for this like workshop that like 10,000 people are applying to? And you're like, no, I want to actually have my weekend. And then someone tells you you're perfect for this, and you're like, well, gosh darn it, now I got to apply to this thing. Like, these are the kind of things that and listen, I mean, I just got into Sundance. So like the odds sometimes work out in your favor, but I've just been feeling for the longest time, like there have been a carrot dangling in front of me, and it's really hard to know it's really hard to know in this industry, like where and who to put your hope in. Because,
we put our hope in a lot of people sometimes we get really discouraged.
And like, I grew up like memorizing what is it?
Giving
Romans
our power
8:5.
away just constantly.
Yeah.
Like I grew up like memorizing like this Bible verse. It's like, hope does not disappoint, right? And it's like,
You come from a
well,
Christian background?
I do.
Okay. Yeah.
I do. And, so I've always been like, I think, but one of the things that I've had to come to terms with over time is like, the object of your hope is really important. And in the entertainment industry, it's so easy to put the object of your hope in the wrong place. And that leads to these compromises, right? And sometimes a compromise is like a moral compromise, but other times it's just a compromise of self-respect. We fundraised under the title Little White Lies. That was originally going to be the title. And I still love that title, but a dear friend and mentor of mine pointed out lots of shows with lies in it
and little
in it, but with 3 titles. He was like, listen, it sounds derivative. It might be perfect, but it sounds derivative. But I bring it up because really, as Sierra and I were getting the first draft put together, we kind of kept asking ourselves with each character. We were like, what is the lie that each character is telling themselves to allow them to continue? And so that's something I've started to ask myself in my own life. Why am I continuing? And is it a lie or is it a truth? Because if it's a lie, that like, I need to ask myself, like, what's the object of my hope?
Yeah.
What compromise am I making?
Elle, I know there's other people you want to bring in here, so you want to bring someone else in.
Yes.
Whoever you want to bring in.
Shout out.
While we're doing this, I just want to remind you practically, those of you who are listening or watching, what is the project you have going on right now, right? And how are you going to intentionally move it forward? The thing that I find so interesting in industry spaces, hello. Welcome. We're going to get to you in a sec. We just had a house party here last night. And I'm always on guard in those spaces because I know myself, I have to guard myself, but I'm also aware of other people who are going to be doing those chasing and or maybe saying or overcommitting. And it's just a really interesting time to figure out who you navigate with, who you walk with, who you say yes to. So I'm really impressed with the people that you have, which is, while it's here, who else we have on the team. Congratulations on making the film and being a part of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Beth Napoli, director of photography and producer.
She's the first person, like maybe even before my husband, that I was like told the idea for this project too.
Okay, fantastic. And notice, Elle had a multiple hats, you, DP, and producer. That's really cool. I know this isn't your favorite thing to be in front of the camera. So in short, I would love to hear why you said yes and what you're taking out of it as you're kind of moving through your career here.
Well, I always say yes to Erin because like I've believed in her for 12 years now.
We believe in each other.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah. But I don't know. She sent me the script and I loved it right away. Like I saw the potential in it. She's like, oh, there's missing pieces here and there, but I laughed through it. It was so easy, and I was like, and also the dialogue. Like, I don't know. I'm really bad with dialogue, but it just flowed through. And I felt like I knew a lot of those people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why I love industry things so much, like industry stories, because I think they're therapeutic. Priscilla's off camera talking about therapy, but this is not an easy job that we have taken up, and being able to tell stories that we hope also provide conversations for other people. Thinking about, and I haven't seen it yet, I'm excited to see it, but just thinking about like how much abuse we allow to happen to us, but we have a lot of power, we have a lot of power to say no while we're chasing our dreams.
Absolutely. Characters have to have agency.
Yeah.
That's, and that's the interesting thing is like, there's multiple ways of looking at it, right? It's easy for us to look at this and be like, this is about people being exploited. And it's like, yeah, it is. But like, at the same time, this is about people choosing to continue in that. And that's what I'm like, always grappling with myself in. I don't just think it's entertainment industry. I honestly think it's just like late stage capitalism and like the oligarchy and like everything that is involved in just like being like a young person dreaming in a world that feels like it's like everything is set against you. And it's like what we have to focus on the agency that we have. And honestly, it's not fun for audiences to watch characters do anything other than make choices. So we have to give them choices.
Yeah.
And we have them. We have choices too.
Elle, I know you want to get off camera, but thank you. Sorry, Beth, thank you. Elle's over there.
Only because I told him that she's.
It was just going to be a shout out. I'm like, you need to see the cinematographer. Thank you, Beth. Yeah, Jake, come on. So the next and the person will come in. I met your husband and producer.
Jake's an EP.
You're an EP, executive producer at CineQuest Film Festival a couple years ago. Thanks for remembering that. So talk about being EP, working with your wife. Anything you want to say to shout out your role in the project?
No, I got to be a part of the story development process, the fundraising process, and then my standard PH role, which is production husband process.
PH.
Yeah. So making runs.
The dancing in it.
Yeah. If you keep your eyes open, you will see the DJ with a disco ball motorcycle helmet in the background for like 3 seconds.
That's in the trailer, isn't it?
It might be.
Because I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, cool. So I pop up in the background from time to time, but basically a little bit here and there.
A million tiny things that added up to a mountain.
Yes.
Okay, for you, what was your favorite part of the script when you came up when she presented it to you when you read it?
The dialogue, because it talks. It was great because a lot of our cast is like 20 somethings, and they thought that so were we.
It felt really good
when the script was done. So
you're like our age, and I was like, our age.
Ageless.
No. It's got a great freshness to it. It's got a rhythm to it I really enjoy. So it's fun for me to watch people like in their element and like feel like you're like in this movie most particularly just because of the movement and the camera movement and all. It's just like such a fly in the wall movie pilot for us to watch and for me to be, I don't know, that's my favorite part of it.
Okay, that's awesome. And then let's talk about the casting a little bit.
Sure.
I would love to hear about, you guys had a younger group.
Yep.
What was it like? Did you find a lot of professionalism with it? Were you excited about everybody you casted? Was there casting choices that you guys regretted? Or talk about that.
No, I'll start by saying no regrets. No regrets. And this is so I'll give you the preview version. We are doing a whole casting panel at World of Hyatt in a couple days, but the preview is I had been sitting on kind of the idea and had built out a little bit of the world with Beth and Hayden for a couple weeks, and then I do this thing every month at my house called Directing Actors Workshop, where we have some actors come over and some directors come over and we work out scenes. Sierra Croney, who is freaking brilliant. Everyone look up Sierra Croney. She was over as an actress one week, and I saw her and it hit me. I was just like, oh my gosh. And in that moment, I just pulled her aside. I was like, I have this idea. I got to tell you about it. And she was like, oh, that sounds great. And so I invited her over to talk about it and just to brainstorm, and then suddenly realized like, wow, she has such a great knack for dialogue, and brought her into the writing process. So that role was set from that. Wow. And from there, we also wrote with in mind several people that we both knew. And then one person, like there was another person that I just showed her a reel of, but like Dex was part of our Directing Actors Workshop, and we wrote a role for Dex. We wrote a role for Hunter, I also cast Sierra in Subtext, which is the previous film I did, and Hunter was in that. So we wrote a role for Hunter. Amber was in Subtext. We wrote a role for Amber. And then my friend Daniel Rashid, I'd been just wanting to work with Daniel Rashid forever. And I showed her his reel. And I was like, we're writing a role for Daniel. And she was like, no complaints there. So we started off with that. But then we had some other roles that were the characters, they became like certain times it's like you see an actor and you write a character around them. And then certain times it's just like a character emerges. And you're like, I gotta go find this actor. So we had a Billy Joel, Elsie. We have a character named Billy Joel. Bex, Donovan, and the lead, Jacob. We had these other roles, and we were like, we need to find these actors. And I had made friends with a casting director named Emily Cook. She had seen 2 projects ago. I did a pilot with Beth and Elle called A Question of Service.
That won an award at Holly Shorts.
It
Congratulations.
did. It won,
Girl,
it won,
go
thank you,
girl.
yeah. It won Best TV at Holly Shorts. So this is not my first time doing TV. That just big shout out to Hans Obma for that, because that was Hans wrote that and produced that. But we in making that, where was I going? Oh, in making that, so Emily Cook reached out to me because she saw Hans posting about that, and she had seen him read before, and just as he's such a phenomenal actor, and she kind of was keeping tabs on him, and so she just wanted to see it. And so I sent it to her and was like, do you want to get lunch? And so we weirdly just like went out to lunch and became fast friends. Oh. And so when this opportunity came up, and I really knew I wanted to work with a casting director on this, because it wasn't just casting people that would work in coverage. Like, I needed such great, fantastic chemistry. I wanted the eye of a casting director to help me put this ensemble together. And I just wanted her, experience. And she delivered so many amazing options to me. Like, there are wonderful actors that I now want to work with that we didn't even work with. And then the ones that we did have now not only crushed it, but become good friends, and like literally no regrets in the casting. Everyone's amazing.
I love that. And I just want to take the time.
Oh, and Maddie. But Maddie came through as an offer.
Oh,
the actor that played Maddie, which you'll get to meet them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out the awesomeness of you guys doing the monthly workshop. How you guys showed up for each other just to support each other, like the directors and the actors being able to practice their craft. They got casted out of that, and all the relationships that are built around you that you really picked out of.
Sure.
To make this happen. I think that speaks to all of us in the industry of how important relationships are, and building it and pouring into each other when there's no, I don't know if the workshops are paid, but when there's no money involved, just to sharpen each other.
Right. Yeah.
Jake says no money.
That is so powerful, though.
All we offer at the workshops is, if they're in season, fresh squeezed orange juice from the trees in our back.
Oh my gosh. But I love that. You guys are pouring into each other to sharpen each other. And then when you guys have opportunity to put money in each other's pockets or an opportunity to shine, you guys say, like, come with me.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like, we've been grinding. We've been workshopping. Let's go.
I really, really genuinely hope that really wonderful things come to and for everyone who worked on this project with me. Like, everyone.
It's going to.
I think that's like the most important currency that you have, are the relationships with the people you've already worked with.
Come on, that's the quote right there, y'all.
It's just, I believe it sincerely.
Jump back in.
Yeah. Well, before Jake takes off, I want to end the podcast with brutally honest truths.
Okay.
Things you feel like people need to hear and or deal with and or believe or take to heart. Opinions are obviously what these things are, but what would you say, Jake, before you take off into this?
Okay, so if you're writing a script, everywhere where it says like interior something night, just cross out night and write day.
It makes it easier to film.
to save your sanity for shooting 4 continuous nights. That's my advice. It's also less expensive for independent filmmakers as well. But.
Okay.
Because you had to film like 8 p.m. till 7 in the morning kind of thing, and that just
5 p.m. until dawn.
It kept getting a little bit later each day.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a practical, brutal truth.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jake, for being here. I'm gonna snap you out and snap back in.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. Brutal, honest truth from you. You can have multiple, and you too. I want us to share brutal, honest truths too.
I'm going to start with one from like the programming perspective.
Okay.
Film festivals, like any film festival worth its salt, is getting so many good submissions, and it is truly not enough to have a film that is professional and that is good and there's nothing wrong with. It's not even enough necessarily to have something that's excellent. To really stand out in the world, you have to create something that feels wholly new, wholly original. It can be a topic that's already been seen before, but from a new angle. It needs to feel emotionally involving and thought-provoking. And the way that I think that works most often is if you're actually exploring something that you're exploring something for yourself. For me, Chasers, like the difference between the success that Chasers has had and honestly Subtext as well, and some of my earlier projects, is really exploring something really, really personal and not going in with an agenda to teach someone something, but going in asking myself questions and letting those questions inform the depth and the complexity of the storytelling.
That's great. I love when people, I know you teach screenwriting too, but I love when people talk about what are the questions your story is asking, as opposed to what's your message or what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
What questions are you asking? That's that's a brutal, honest truth. You should know that. You should consider that. All right. I want to
I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
Take that.
I want to also talk real quick on our remaining minutes. Brutal, honest truths for film festival best practices. When you are doing the film festival circuit, I'm just sharing this as a person who's done film festivals. You do a film festival, and a person who goes and attends film festivals. Everyone here is chasing something, and we can feel it when you're desperate and sweaty. Stop. Yeah. Be so aware of over talking, over promising, just being
of service.
Yeah, be of value. Don't waste people's time. I told people, I met a guy in the airport, and it was so cool. He saw my sticker on my laptop, asked me about Bravemaker, and he asked me, what would you tell me? Like, how could I, as a filmmaker, what could I be doing? I was like, I just sat back there. I was like, don't waste people's time. You just now met me. Don't drop off. Stay in touch. The brutal, honest truth is I meet so many people, and I'm like, I will bend over backward to help you. I want to collaborate with you. I want to believe in you. But half the time, they don't show back up. They don't follow me on social media. They don't comment on posts. Then a year or two later, it's like, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
So be of value to people.
Be of value.
That is such a brutal, honest truth. Is find a way to be mutually beneficial to people. That's and it can happen at a film festival. Can I get your coffee? Can I buy you something? Can I help clean up the party afterward? Like that kind of stuff. What do you got to say, Priscilla?
For mine, during this new year, it's that it's okay to take your time to do research. It's okay. I feel like as a filmmaker, we sometimes want to just go, and just throw something out there, which there's a time and a place for it. But it's okay to look at like what is the trends like you did, and to be aware of what makes your project unique and be able to speak to those things. So that is my honest truth. Like, it's okay to take your time, like do your proper process. If that makes sense.
Would you say part of that brutal, honest truth is don't put out garbage?
No, I wouldn't say that because
sometimes you have to make garbage before you make something great.
So it's not that the garbage, but it's just the idea of like sometimes you're just moving too fast, and it's like because you feel internally like you're behind, or like it's like an internal. I don't want to say self-worth, but like it's the internal thing where you feel like you're behind, so you're doing all this so fast, and you're rushing just to do, and it's just like no, like. Take a moment to breathe. Take a moment to know what's going on. Take a moment to do a little research.
Prepping for Sundance feels like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Like just taking your time. And like I said, like it's not about the garbage, because trust me.
Yeah.
Sometimes we only got $2,000. Okay. So it is what it is. And I want you to continue to make quantity because it'll turn into quality. But also just take your time to research.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, your time will be your time, and whatever is meant to happen will come. Just do your best, whatever capacity that looks like.
So I'm gonna add on to that. I think you could probably add on to this as well. As a film festival programmer, when we watch films, I feel like people jump the gun because they're looking at the deadlines, and those deadlines are real. There are people who submitted stuff to Sundance with a rough cut, with sound not complete or whatever, and they have, and sometimes it works for them.
So ours was pretty far.
Well, that's amazing. Sometimes it works for people, and you hear those stories, but a lot of times it doesn't. And I can't see what you can see as a film festival programmer when it's so rough. So that's where it's like, you almost have to. The brutal honest truth is wait till it's really great. Because
Especially if they don't know you. Especially
There
if
you
you don't
Brutal
have
honest
any
truth.
reputation.
yeah.
That's there, and there's a difference between being like 90% of the way and like 50%
Yes,
of the way.
yes. I have submitted a 50% of the way to something because I was like, the deadline is coming and I want to have it in the door. That's not right. I should have waited a year.
Yeah.
All right. We could keep talking long. Chasers_film
Yeah.
on Instagram. You
And
can
Erin
watch.
Brown Thomas _filmmaker.
Boom. This is an awesome opportunity. Thank you for being our first in our makeshift podcast lounge. We have like 4 people watching alongside. It's great. We encourage you to follow Brave Maker on all of our channels. Thank you for, I see Stacy and other people who are watching online live. So cool. This is going to be out obviously on our YouTube channel. Share it for someone else. Watch it, then come back and listen to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to say?
Just, tell the stories you're scared to tell.
Tell the stories you're scared to tell. All right, that's all we got. Brave story. Oh,
Yeah, I was like, talk about being a brave maker.
brave stories change the world.
And you are the story.
All right, see you, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.